Good morning. I'm Reverend Damian Lake. I am your new Associate Conference Minister here in the Missouri Mid-South Conference of the United Church of Christ. And I'm so glad to be with you this morning in this virtual way as we continue to share with you messages that we hope will bring you a hope and promise of better days to come. This morning, as I share these thoughts and ideas with you, I'm feeling and recognizing the need and the importance of talking to you or sharing the idea around self-care. Now, I have to say that first and foremost, my understanding of self-care comes from the biblical stories of Jesus with his disciples. You see, there was at one point in the disciples' message of the Gospels when Jesus takes time to simply get up and walk away from his disciples and to go off for a little bit of a walk, maybe into the woods even. And I recognize that when Jesus does this, it is an invitation for us to think about our own self-care. How we manage to deal with all of the things that are coming at us so quickly during this time. Now, self-care in a normal season of any minister's life, of any congregation's life, is an important thing to be talking about. But during a time like this, a pandemic, it is even more vital. Now, I was a pastor in a church, in a congregation, when COVID hit us or struck us here in our country, and when a lockdown came upon us. And so for approximately 3 months, I lived in a locked down state or part of that state. And when I was in that experience, I started to experience a deep, deep desire for self-care. I started to recognize that during this time in my life and in the world, that it was even more necessary to take time for myself. And unfortunately, I wasn't always giving myself that time every week for rest and restoration. In fact, when COVID first hit and we started to do a virtual worship online, that is when I initially thought about the excitement that came from doing something new. And so I got wrapped up in that, and in fact spent many, many hours recording and preparing video sermons and messages each week. But you see, we all have transitioned into a new way of doing worship. Over the last 4, almost 5 months now, we have been dealing with new ways of doing church. We've had our Bible studies move to online, virtual Bible studies in many places. We have had meetings with our pastors in a virtual environment like Zoom or Facebook Live. We've had different ways of connecting with one another. But it is during this time which we recognize we are overextending ourselves quite often as pastors. We are reaching far beyond our limitations and saying, it's okay, it's just one more day or one more Zoom meeting. But the reality is these Zoom meetings end up leaving us with what I call Zoom fatigue. That is a real thing. We have so much time spent in front of a camera talking and interacting with others, and it might seem at first like, oh, it's so much easier. I can be in my pajamas and have a dress shirt on the top. But that's not true. It really is a time where we need more energy and more involvement with one another. We're paying more attention to everybody on the screen, not just one person who is talking at a time. So as congregations, what can you do? That's the question. What can you do to help support your pastor who is in this time of need? pastors who are overextending themselves, attending multiple board and council meetings, maybe even in a month, doing those virtual Bible studies, doing the worship, leading it, preaching and preparing a sermon, who are even coming up with creative and new ways, new backgrounds, PowerPoints to integrate in graphics and designs. I've watched and been a part of many of your worship services already, and I am truly impressed by your pastors and their ability to reach out and to make a beautiful worship service for you on a Sunday morning. So how do we care for one another during this time? We must ask our pastors to take time. Take a day, 2 days off during the week. Make sure to honor your Sabbath. You too need Sabbath, and that is not on Sunday, by the way. The Sunday pastor afternoon post-sermon nap is still a real thing, but we need another day to rest and to get restoration so that we can continue to serve. But we also need vacations. And yes, those mean something different today. They might be what we call staycations. Those opportunities when we don't respond to emails, we don't check the emails, we don't answer phone calls or respond to phone calls. That time when we truly are at home. Maybe we're working in the garden, maybe we're working on a woodworking project, maybe we're doing some fix-up on our homes. Whatever that looks like, stay vacations are really important right now for our pastors. Make sure to take care of yourself. Make sure to, as pastors and as people in the congregation, make sure to take care of yourself, but to take care of your pastor. Reach out to them as well as they are caring for you. Make sure you reach out to them and let them know that they are appreciated for all the hard work that they have been putting in and for the continued effort of reaching out to you and caring for you. Pastors are deeply compassionate people. We enter into this world as normal people, but when we are called by God to be pastors, we are called because of our heart. Our heart yearns to care and love the people around us. So take time. Make sure that you thank your pastor, and pastors, take time. Take time to pause, to breathe, and take that stay vacation. I wish you the best and all the blessings from the Missouri Mid-South Conference of the United Church of Christ.